John Skipper, our co-founder and CEO, has thundered into town. He's the man who created our vacation policy, which I don't totally understand.
I love it.
Skip.
And he has come down with urgency because I've been begging him, like, our show, it just has to get younger and smarter. And I look at our back row today, and I've got younger, as Tony stands there alone and Jeremy is next to him sort of editing, and I don't know if I could talk to him because the mic over there doesn't always work.
Looking for the smarter?
I have Tony in the back row, and I've got Billy, Mike, and Jess all vacationing, so we have got younger handled. But I say to myself, well, certainly if Skipper is here with urgency, we've got smarter covered. And then I look.
I got you.
Chris Cody is in the lead seat. I don't know where Mike is. I don't know where Billy is. I don't know where Jessica is. But our vacation policy is just go ahead and take vacation.
I'm right here, Dan, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't gotten to you yet.
What I do?
No, you haven't done anything yet. I'm told.
Yeah, I mean, Billy had a kid, so.
I'm told that. Do people know that?
Well, they do now.
Yes.
Okay,
Do
because I
pictures,
thought it was a
yes.
big secret.
All of our socials.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he simply fled for 3 weeks and took vacation because of what the Braves did to the Marlins. We've got Roy over here, and I'll get to him in a second. Welcome back, Roy. I am told, and I can't believe this, I am told that we have a Roy's Top 10 for the first time in several years. I believe that'll be Meadowlark Media's first Roy's Top 10. Will it not?
Yes, it will be, Dan.
All right.
Wow.
So, well, this is clearly the urgency. Like John Skipper's flown into town because we got to get younger and smarter. And I come in today on younger and look at who I've got sitting in to my right.
I'll take care of that for you.
And your left.
Well, no, this is the smarter. Yes, I thought I was just going to say it's smarter, and you were just going to introduce yourself with a hello, but no, you decided to do it with whatever cigarette breath you have.
Oh, yeah.
From Tahoe.
Lingering.
What is that?
Lingering.
Lingering. I didn't understand the word because it came through the ashtray.
Sure.
But welcome back, Stugotz. I am happy to see you. I am happy that you went to Tahoe, and what we did is sent many, many people to Tahoe so we could hear David Wells get up from a couch.
Yep.
And so we could
Boomer.
watch and listen to you confuse Aaron Rodgers with Jake Owen. I want to do.
I had a week, Dano. I really did. A great week. I mean, we have, listen, you and I have spent nearly 2 decades constructing a character that could turn any negative into a positive, could withstand anything. Even getting the quarterback of your own team, getting him wrong and having a 20-minute conversation with someone who merely looks like the quarterback of your NFL team. We have constructed it. We have done so carefully. It can withstand anything. And I am tired of people complaining about me always winning. I'm always winning because this is the way we designed my character to be. It can withstand anything. And it withstood its toughest test last week.
I understand that you say
what a week.
It could withstand anything, but it's going to kill me.
Sorry.
Because I can't.
Well, you created it.
I know. I am well aware that you are Frankenstein's monster. And it's going to kill me. It will withstand everything, but I thought what was going to happen is you were going to plant your flag at the end, or your flag of ignorance, waving it. It's just a pole. It doesn't have a flag on it.
Yeah.
Into the head of Michael Wilbon, and we were going to laugh as ESPN burned up. But instead, you're going to plant it in my head with Tahoe expenses that come back with David Wells getting off of an inflatable couch.
Yeah. It's great.
Sounds like it was worth it to me, Dan.
It
I don't
really
know.
does.
Right there.
You know what? I don't know what we spent there.
Yeah.
I don't know what we spent there. But if we only sent an army to Tahoe to get this sound, which is Boomer Wells, who threw a perfect game in a Yankee uniform coming off of a hangover. Was it a perfect game or was it a no-hitter?
I think it was a no-hitter. Game for your life, David Wells? I mean, what do you think?
Regardless, he was sitting on an inflatable couch, kind of on his back because it was a seesaw of an inflatable couch.
Perfect game.
One of what,
Wow.
24? There have been like 24, 25 of those ever. And he wasn't drunk, but he might have still been drunk, lingering, as Ashtray Breath likes to say. He might have still been drunk, and he threw one of 24, 25 perfect games. We didn't need to go to Tahoe to talk to him. We could have gotten him by phone, but the secret is you send an army to Tahoe so you could get the sound of him getting on the inflatable couch that him and Stugotz were sinking into on one end because Mike and Jeremy were sitting too erectly on the other.
Can't get that on Zoom.
That's correct. So we went there for two reasons, Cody. The other one I have more questions about, but I'll get to it a little bit later because I want to interview you.
Okay.
I just can't believe that what I wanted to do it yesterday. I wanted to come off vacation to talk to you about what happened. Not that look, Jake Owen looks enough like Aaron Rodgers that some people might confuse him. I don't think you should as a Jets fan and someone who's been watching Aaron Rodgers for 20 years. But I could see the resemblance, certainly. That's not the part I want to ask you about. I want to ask you about how you did it for 20 minutes staring into his face. And I can't tell if it's because his quarterback is so fried from psychedelics that he thinks he still looks like Jake Owen, or that Stugotz is so fried from psychedelic, because I want to say to you, not just welcome back, but welcome back from the dead.
Yes.
Literally where you go every summer to just die a little more.
Yep. Last summer, though, Dan, this is it. I mean, we're done. Dead and Company is behind us.
Just stop with that.
No,
What do you mean?
No, I've read the quotes. They're coming back in some other form.
Oh, I'll be off those days.
You already said you were going to be off like October 31st or something.
Done. The gorge. I mean, we're going back.
They will never retire, and you know it. By the way, I have to make a prediction. Jake Owen is going to spin a country hit record out of the fact that he resembles Aaron Rodgers, and you need to get in on royalties.
I agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
make that happen.
Yeah.
What's it going to be called?
Aaron Rodgers. No, seriously.
I thought you had like a creative bit you were working out here.
No, because there's a big hit called Bruce Springsteen, a big country hit called Bruce Springsteen. This is going to be
I think
called
it's just
Aaron
called
Rodgers.
Springsteen.
Well, whatever. You know,
Right.
same difference.
Mm-hmm.
But but
A-Rod.
But to call this Rodgers would not have the same heft as Springsteen. So they're going to call it Aaron Rodgers, and you need to get royalties.
Younger and smarter, Dan. Younger and smarter.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Jeremy, which I would have said for myself if I wasn't polluting the room with people who were younger and smarter. I was just going to say that, but you beat me to it.
Whoops.
So I couldn't
A good
do
joke.
it. Couldn't
To the
do
punch.
it. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
couldn't do it for myself. It would have been a good joke for him to give me as opposed to taking it for himself.
To be honest, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
That's the time your mic worked.
That is such a lie. I mean,
Discord.
Learning from you, Stu.
Speaking of Discord, I have been told I have checked out of a lot of social media for a lot of different reasons recently, but I've been told that I have started some sort of heat Twitter war, and God bless you, heat Twitter, because honestly, it has been a privilege and a pleasure to serve you, to enrage you, to birth you, to just be something that has been around for many, many years, the insanity of social media meeting LeBron and Dwayne and Chris Bosh on a stage and fight with America for 4 years, and the last 15 years of what has been the only thing we've had in this market, really, until the Dolphins kind of, won a playoff game last year. Like, no, we've had nothing. And Heat Twitter has basically been where sports lives, where Miami sports live, and it is wonderful, and it is awful, and it is wonder-awful. Like, it is terrible. They fight over everything. And,
It's never really wonderful.
No, never.
well, no, it is because passion, man, it feeds all of us. And I eat well. The passion, you don't want them to be indifferent. Look at what this market would be if I didn't have all this idiocy giving us money. We wouldn't have any jobs and we wouldn't have any sports in this market if not for heat birthing just this incredibly acidic corner of the universe that wants to fight with everybody. And amusingly enough, I'm imagining that somewhere within the stupidity of the discussion of is Maxey 1 centimeter better than Tyler Hero, people are enraged in the street and macheteing each other and like their shivs and it's like all right, the 51st best player in the league versus like the 57th best player. But I'm imagining that's what's happened, right?
How dare you ask that question, by the way, or even suggest that one is better than the other? I mean,
Well, he is, but Maxie's better.
Well, Tony's
What?
here, Tony's here with that controversial
I don't think
opinion,
so.
and maybe he is. Look, I
They're
didn't.
very close, guys.
I don't want to talk
we're
about.
splitting hairs.
Yes.
All right, good.
What? Yeah.
I love a splitting of hairs, Dan. That's why I said it.
But they're very close was sufficient enough. You didn't have to just come in with a cliche afterward.
One
That's
step
not-
closer. That's all. I mean,
But it's just redundant. He just
Well,
said
it's
that.
not. It's taking it and just ratcheting up the stakes a little bit.
Yeah, it brought it into focus for
Thank
me
you.
when he said splitting of hairs.
I've never actually split a hair. Have you guys?
I have.
I imagine it's difficult.
Yeah.
Should probably go to a barber for that.
You have not.
No, I have, and you need a scalpel. You can't do it with a knife. You need a magnifying
Someone
glass.
get my dad a hair.
You need a magnifying glass and a scalpel.
Right.
Anybody have a medical scalpel? Because I'll do it right now. Seriously, you can split a hair. When you put it under a microscope, it appears to be about 1/8 of an inch thick, and it enables you to literally split that hair. Because I've done it. I can't be the only one in the room who has split a hair.
Younger and smarter.
Younger and
Dan.
smarter.
Oh,
God, dude. Go sit in the penalty box.
Sorry.
Go sit in the penalty box.
So close. So close.
What happened with Heat Twitter yesterday? Is it just that Tony is on the side of Maxie? And this is one of the funny things. I'm supposed to be a professional communicator, and I evidently, yesterday, people think that I think the things that I said. I was telling you, or thought I was telling you, this is what the Heat think. This is their opinion. They think Tyler Maxey is not as good as, I'm sorry, they think Maxey isn't as good as Hero.
Therese Maxey.
They think, thank you. They think that Hero is better as a trade asset. You could disagree with that. I probably disagree with it, but not by much. But I meant to say that this is what they're saying. I don't think that's how that came out.
Dan Le Batard says.
Also, though, I got Dan Le Batard says on Tyler Hero is whiter, which I didn't want. That was them saying it. But I'm pretty sure that's just a fact. Tony, Jeremy, tell me what it is that they are saying on Heat Twitter. Give me the controversy just so that you know, and I will revisit from yesterday. The changes in the sports journalism business and the information sports journalism business have caught me totally off guard. I think I told you guys I was sobbing in a Herald bathroom at 22 years old. It's probably the last time before now that I've sort of leaked confidence in what it is I do professionally. Sobbing in a Herald bathroom.
I heard you.
It was midnight. You didn't work at those hours.
So that's true.
Even back then, you were lazy.
I had bugged the bathroom. So I heard you the next day. Sobbing in the Herald bathroom.
On tape.
I actually think I was there. I think that was the only occasion when you and I double-teamed a major story.
Hell yeah.
I did very little of the research, but yet got my byline on it with yours. You did all the heavy lifting, but I think I was there that night at midnight. I could have the night wrong.
Splash.
It could be different, but
You do have the night wrong because I was often there at midnight. You were not.
no, I really wasn't. Wow.
Except that one time where you were, you think.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, right. That
yeah,
one time.
yeah.
Yeah, several nights in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were the only ones in the whole building back when the Herald had a building.
We'll
Double
talk-
teaming on a story, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Baby.
We will talk. We will talk. Steve Martin was a prop comic. We will talk to Greg Cody about how it is that we are walking him to career hospice in a moment, gently by the hand. He's
Thank
writing.
you.
He's writing his own headlines now. I learned the other day.
Yeah.
I did not know he's editing his own copy.
They just say the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All the headlines say that, no matter what I'm writing about.
That was the joke you just made.
I know, but I had to
He had
underline
to-
it.
right.
I had to,
Splitting hairs.
yeah,
Right.
it's like a hack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I write.
Became
everything.
clear to me, Dan. I mean,
Thank you. Anybody got that scalpel? That's
Yes.
a show-long offer.
Yesterday, we were. I mean, I'm just fascinated by it because I was not built for the information business. The reason I knew it was a different night, I was working on that big story once with Greg Cody, but it was the Marlins that made me crazy because there was a guy on the beat with the Marlins who, had professional scouts in his wedding. And we were chasing news like who are executives going to be and who are vice presidents going to be because it was a major league team coming to town for the first time, and everything about them was important. And I was getting my ass kicked. Like I was not only getting my ass kicked, I would try to get my mind off it. I was going crazy. I was trying to get my mind off it, go play basketball, and I'd repeatedly just sort of get hit in the head with the basketball because I couldn't stop thinking about how I was getting my ass kicked.
On reporting Marlin stuff?
On I was going to lose my job because I wasn't doing it well.
who was kicking your ass?
Gordon Eads.
Oh, wow.
What?
Wow. Wow.
Gordon, he's a good one. Really good. I mean, he's an ass kicker. Don't take it personally.
Where's he
He'd have
now?
kicked anybody's ass.
Where's he now?
I think he's curating a Boston Red Sox, or he was very recently, Boston Red Sox museum. Always was an exceptional reporter, was super well connected, was a great writer, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the idea of I had to stay up at night worried about, Greg, you remember this, worried about what someone else was going to have thrown on the lawn that was news that was going to make me look to everybody like I'm not good at my job and I'm going to lose my job.
Yes, I can relate. When I was on the UM beat from 84 to 88 under Jimmy Johnson, I scrambled not to get my ass kicked and got my ass kicked a lot. And that was before the internet became a huge thing. It was around, but not a huge thing. So you literally got up in the morning and read the opposition paper with your heart palpitating because there is no worse feeling to cover a major beat and to get beat on a significant story. There's nothing worse than that.
And I don't like change a lot. So what ended up happening is I'm covering the University of Miami. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to start on the University of Florida at the Miami Herald. Light pressure. Just give me light pressure.
Really?
Yes, I don't want to start with, I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Jump into the pressure, man.
I thank you, Stugotz. I appreciate it.
Says veteran beat man Stugotz.
Somebody who would definitely jump in right into the pressure.
Veteran hard worker, Stugotz.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going, Dan.
Ooh, good line.
He's right on that.
Yep.
That's a good line. Let me write that down.
Yep.
When the going gets tough. Go on with the show. I'm
Tough
just gonna
gets
write that.
going, yeah.
The tough gets going.
In case you missed it.
Got
It's
it.
get going, not gets going.
Oh, yeah. Damn it. Okay. There. All right. I got it.
Splitting hairs.
Exactly.
It is.
I don't want to go to the University of Miami beat. They forced me to do it. Then I get decent at it because it wasn't as controversial as it was in Greg Cody's day. There weren't as many problems, though there were problems. And so then I wanted to stay there, and now the Marlins become a Major League Baseball team. And every executive in our building cares about it deeply. All of a sudden, this is the biggest thing. Like, where's the minor league facility for the Marlins going to be, Dan? And it's just like, this is not what I want to be doing. This is not what I imagined any of this to be. And I was going crazy. And so I didn't want to be an information guy, because I'm telling you right now that Schefter and Shams and Woj, they are crazy, because you can't live in this space once you actually have competitors. Once Shams appears for Woj, once there are competitors here, and Woj birthed Shams. But once it is that you have somebody that could kick your ass and everybody's now watching, it becomes a real unpleasantness. And Woj has always been a journalist's journalist. But what this is now that pays is not what got him here. It's a different competition. And what he's doing right now is Portland wants or thinks that by putting into the atmosphere that this is going to take weeks or months, that it will put pressure on everybody to inflate the costs. So they go to Woj, who then becomes, instead of a journalist, an information guy, who's becoming a propagandist on behalf of an organization that he has relationships with that have all sorts of conflicts that when me and Woj were doing journalism together, conflicts that I was trying to navigate with Ricky Williams that almost destroyed our friendship. Conflicts that you have to carefully navigate. It's not just, hey, Portland, let me serve your agenda needs because me, Woj, is so credible right now that I can get your voice to the audience more than you can, giant NBA organization, because everyone knows to turn to me, and that's why I'm worth $10 million a year now.
And that is what you are doing with the Miami Heat, Dan, according to all of Heat Twitter. Chef Trilly basically is the focal point of Heat Twitter in a lot of ways, and a lot of Heat Twitter runs through him. Clay Ferraro, a local journalist here in South Florida yesterday who works for WPLG, tweeted, by the way, when you hear people say the Heat don't leak anything, it's true, with one exception. Once Dan starts talking, it's because the Heat are fed up. And Chef Trilly said, Pat Riley loves Dan. If Dan is speaking, it's basically Pat speaking.
I didn't speak to Pat Riley on that. And I don't give up my sources. This is not coming from Pat Riley. I have other sources, and they don't leak anything. They are regarded as the most quiet organization in sports. It's harder to get in sports, not basketball. I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, Greg, they are regarded as the team that nothing comes out of. That, man, do you understand? I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody knows this. Nick Harrison's in charge of that operation. Pat Riley reports to Nick. Nick's the boss. Everyone's boss is Nick.
I think people have a hard time absorbing that.
That's how Mickey came up.
They just feel like Riley's the boss
that's
there.
How and that's been by design by the Harrisons.
Right.
It's been by design. They are very quietly in the shadows because him being the boss serves everybody.
This also re-sparked the entire Maxey Hero debate, the one that started on our show, the one where we basically forced you into somehow being aggregated as saying that Hero is better than Maxey and Hero is whiter than Maxey and Hero is all of these things with Maxey. That argument started just escalating everywhere, not only on NBA Twitter, but within Heat Twitter in a way that, I don't know if you remember, Dan, this is an environment where there was an argument about Justice Winslow versus Devin Booker.
Oh, God.
Just hashtag Justice Better. That's the type of environment that we have with Heat Twitter. So when it comes down to players where you're just splitting hairs like Maxey and Hero, it is a cesspool.
When I originally talked to Heat people, the Brain Trust is 5 of them, okay? It's Nick, it's Mickey, it's Andy Ellisberg, it's Spo, it's Riley. And Riley is the leader on all of it, and Jerry West now says Spo is the best coach that he's ever seen. That's the 5 of them run the organization. And if there's a 3-2 vote on something, I haven't checked on this part of it in many years, but I'm assuming now Nick is the deciding vote.
I would say it's Riley, but that's, I mean, you know better than I do, of course. I mean,
it would surprise me if it weren't Riley.
Same here.
Wait,
I think
listen to what he said.
No, but that's okay. I think it would surprise everybody,
Yeah.
though. Roy, I think it would surprise everybody listening to this. What it is I'm saying. when he talks about, Stugotz talks about us purposely constructing something, the Arisons purposely constructed it this way. Pat Riley serves their needs very well. Pat Riley, make no mistake about this, very much works for the Arisons. If he wants to go over the salary cap, it's going to go to a vote of 5, and the deciding vote's not cast by him. Like, it seems like that's not hard to understand. You think Pat Riley can do whatever he wants?
Yes.
Stu, what are you talking about? That's like saying Dolan doesn't have final say with the Knicks. The owners, yes, they're going to trust Riley on all the basketball stuff. If it's between who should we sign, I imagine they give him final say. But when it comes to the money and
maybe on the business side of it, maybe Nick does get the final vote. But on basketball decisions, I would imagine that Pat's the guy getting that 5th vote.
He has to be.
Right.
And I was thinking basketball side when I said it's hard to believe that it's a 2-2 vote, and all of a sudden, who do we trust more on a basketball decision, Nick Harrison or Pat Riley? I don't think there's any question.
Well, don't worry, Nick or Pat. If you need either information, graphs, or descriptive analogies of what's going on with Tyler Hero and Tyrese Maxey, you can check out Heat Twitter because it's everywhere. It's spread everywhere, and there is no
Heat
crevice
Twitter
you can
or
turn.
Heat Threads? Greg, are you on Threads?
Heat Twitter.
I went on Threads to register my name, but I haven't threaded anything.
You should thread.
Should I?
People are threading.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't heard of it 5 days ago. Like, this is totally new to me.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Greg Cody, what is it that you're smiling at right now? Because your self-involvement and your narcissism are something I've enjoyed watching over the years blossom into a mushroom cloud of wonder and entitlement.
Thank you.
What were you just staring at and smiling at?
It was a cartoon on the screen of me riding a rocket ship or something, wearing a cowboy hat and like lassoing something, and I had no idea what it was, and I'd never seen it before, but because I starred in the cartoon, it brought a smile to my face.
So it wasn't the fact that it said rampant raw doggery on the...
That too.
Oh, did you even see that?
I
don't
yeah,
call
no,
himself.
Yeah, well, this is what...
No,
this,
I
yes,
saw it.
He
Chris,
just saw Greg.
Chris, that is exactly the gleam I just saw in your father's eye, which is there are no words on that page. There's just a cartoon, me on a rocket, and that's how I imagine my real life being as I climb into the cosmos with the rest of my journalism career.
It's so funny that you bring that up at that moment, because as you're bringing that up, Tony brings up off air as we're starting this segment, I think your dad on his computer just has the megaphone screen for his Greg Cody Show episode where he's just constantly reloading the website to see the downloads trickling up.
Wow, very observant.
I've seen that page before, and I was like, wait a
Eavesdropping
second.
on
I
the
think,
screen there.
I think Greg is looking at his downloads.
Very observant.
How often are you refreshing?
every hour or so.
Yeah.
Tuesday's a big day for us. We come out on Monday.
Right.
Most, 80% of our week's downloads are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
All right,
so it's
all
a
right,
big
Greg.
time.
How's it doing, the big
Greg,
show?
no,
huh?
watch this. Better
doing
than that.
well.
Watch this. Watch this. Let's tell our audience right now, because this is the part of the show that's live on YouTube. Hey, people, go help Greg Cody spin out and be lost to us for the remainder of the show by just bombarding his downloads right now.
Thank you.
Yes, no, you've wanted.
Nothing would make him
he's
happier,
been-
Dan.
He's been doing this show for a long time for free, much to my chagrin.
Huh.
And the payment is supposed to be promotion for his podcast. So let's do it, people.
Wow.
Where do they have to go, Greg Cody, right now, so that I lose you for the rest of the show in your narcissistic, symbolic, or rampant raw doggery?
It's called the Greg Cody Show podcast, and you can get it wherever you pod. Whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Apple is where most of our downloads come from, but not all. And it's we have a new song debuting called "Morning Man," written about me.
Well, let's tease people. Let's go ahead, people. If it's not enough to just tell you to fix the numbers by just doing what we say, let's tease the episode. Do we have that song here? This is Morning Man is the name of the song.
Well, morning with an apostrophe, not a
Right,
G.
big difference.
Very
By Yeti
significant.
Blanc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very. That's a fine. As a
Yeti
matter of
Blanc.
fact.
It's
Oh,
a
wow.
fine? I thought that
Fine.
was splitting hairs. That's a
No.
fine?
$2 for splitting
Scalpel,
hairs.
scalpel, please. Yeah, Yeti Blanc did a great job on that song.
And what is the reason for this song? What Morning Man was that day you seemed to reveal that you like to have sex in the morning, even though I know you don't?
Well, back in the day, I revealed that one of my two children was conceived in the AM.
Which one?
I am not at liberty to say. It'll be in the book that will be published posthumously, the novel I've been working on, or not the novel, but the biography I've been working on in secret for years now, that kind of thing.
Roy, what are you laughing at?
Posthumously.
That's correct.
You're just laughing at posthumously.
That's right.
Okay. The song can be found. Where is it that you said it can be found?
The
Christopher?
song can be found at YetiBlanc.com.
What do you mean, Christopher?
How do you not
Where
know?
do people go to find the song?
Okay, he's my executive producer.
But I'm
I was-
asking you.
Okay, they go to the podcast. The song's world premiere is in the podcast.
Yes, but if you want just the song, you can go to YetiBlanc.com. Here it is, Morning Man by Yeti Blanc.
Banger. I'm Greg Cody, and back in my day, the sun wasn't the only thing that would rise before 7 a.m. Hills schmills, take your medicine back, Jack. I like it au natural. The mornings were once my domain, but as I've gotten older, I've learned that the nighttime is the right time. Baby! And you know it.
What a song, man. I am
shit, that's
downloading
great.
right now.
Banging it.
Everybody, and you know
What?
it.
What?
Baby,
Whoa.
and you know it. And you know it, baby, and you know it.
Come on, Dan, everybody.
And you know it, baby, and you know it. And you know it, baby, and you know it.
Rampant Raw Doggery
Correct.
by Greg Cody.
Not as rampant as it used to be, but we're trying.
Yeah.
Before you were clipped by the hard net workout, you said I had another point on the stuff we were talking about. Do you remember it, or are you too busy counting your downloads to know what I'm talking about?
No, I do remember it. Listen, the idea that the Portland Trailblazers would use Woj to convey what they want, the idea that the Heat, in response, might, through you, air what they think.
But that's not how it happened. Like, I'm the one who knows how it happened, right? You can arrive at whatever conclusions you want to arrive at based on how you think this is done, but I'm the one who knows how it is done, correct? In this instance.
Correct, but let me just finish my point real quick, and then you can say that. That is the currency of how sports and sports journalism operates now. When you read an anonymous quote, somebody is reporting something based on an anonymous quote, chances are it's a team executive or an agent trying to get across what they need to get across and giving a scoop to a reporter to say exactly what they want. Reporters are very often a mouthpiece for a certain agent or and so forth, and that's how sports journalism works, right? That's what Portland and that's what the Heat did, it seemed like.
No.
Well, he's saying no.
Okay.
He's saying that's not the case.
That's what a lot of people think it looked like.
I'm not a journalist. I'm someone that just takes in all this information, and I'm kind of with my dad. When I see something, I take everything with a grain of salt. I'm like, oh, who said that? They must have told him to say that. When I hear something like when Mike Ryan's reporting on Inter Miami, I'm just assuming he has someone at Inter Miami that's telling him what they want out. Like, I'm ignorant with this stuff. I kind of agree with my dad. I just assume it's all coming from the team whenever anyone reports anything.
And that's the greatest concern with where sports journalism has gone, right? It's the fact that I believe last week or the week before with Amin, where nobody really knows how to determine who's a journalist versus what Stephen A. Smith does on First Take.
Well, this is the conversation
Right.
I want to actually have, but I think portions of it bore the audience. Like, this is why I'm feuding in public now with Stephen A. Smith, because the biggest chairs in the game right now, they are owned by the people who are doing this most cartoonishly. The distortion of journalism most cartoonishly as, let me just be a wrestling character at the end that performs on television for ratings, because morning television in general, the people who are watching that are not working. They're not doing other things. So let's feed them. Let's feed them the dumbest thing. They're you know, maybe this is old information I'm giving you, because during the pandemic and now, people work differently. But in the heyday and the rise of argument television, what was done, like Morton Downey Jr., like Jerry Springer, like however much Judge Judy's making, it's feed the people who are at home because they're not working.
And at this point, it's also about feeding them through arguments in bite-sized packages that go to social media. So we all talk about getting clips out there and trying to get things going on social media, getting things aggregated like what happened yesterday. But really, that's what they're trying to do on argument television as well, is what we see is 45 seconds of J.J. Redick eviscerating somebody, or vice versa with Stephen A. Smith.
Correct. And I don't like happening to these distortions, because I have pledged much of my career to doing the job the way it was taught to me at a building that no longer exists. That makes me sad every time I drive past what must now be a $20 billion piece of land, where there was a heartbeat once. Greg Cody and I worked till midnight, and we broke news in a way that made me sob in a bathroom, because that's not the life choice I made. I don't want to be a reporter anymore. It's no fun, but I don't know how to say this part without arrogance. You guys can all think what you think, but in this particular instance, this one story that has created this nonsense, I'm the only one who knows how it happened. And how it happened is that I'm seeing Adrian Wojnarowski's reporting, and it's clearly something that's just coming from Portland. And so I start asking around, hey, what's happening here? And as you guys say, well, the Heat want to get something out, they just leak it. No, they don't. They don't trust any of us. I don't think anyone here understands just how much Mickey Harrison hates the media.
But if they trusted someone, you would be the guy
they don't,
trust.
They
That's what we're
don't
saying.
do that, though.
Right,
You're
right. assuming,
because all other organizations do it, that if they want to get information out, they go and find a reporter and give it to them. And I'm telling you, not this. And I'm telling you, I'm the one who'd know.
Tone, I mean.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you got more money on you?
We get it, okay? You would know. I got it.
Okay, so you went to the Heat. They didn't come to you. You talked to a source at the Heat and said, what the hell's going on with Woj in Portland, right?
No, the starting point on it was because I didn't trust the reporting, and it was confusing to me that Shams and Woj were reporting opposite things. Like, you've got two really credible, the most credible guys. They're reporting totally different things. And so I'm just asking the questions, trying to figure out what's true here. Like, just, it's not even the doing of journalism. Is, can you tell me what's true here? What's my job? What's our job in that regard?
Right. No, you were doing your job, but my point is...
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
You were saying?
I don't want to put you on a spot here as journalists.
Is it on a spot or
It's
in a spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a spot.
I think it's
In a
on,
bad
I think
spot.
it's
The
on a
spot.
Not
spot.
on a bad spot, in a bad spot.
Is
Really?
this the same
Yeah.
debate as in-line or
I
online?
think it is.
Splitting hairs.
I think, yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yep.
Ooh,
Feel free to give me the jokes.
still waiting for that scalpel, by the way. Put you on a spot, but the bottom line is the Heat. When you talk to your source with the Heat, your anonymous source,
Sources.
okay, unless they conveyed that information to you off the record, they knew very well that on your large national platform, you were going to convey the information you received. Correct? So the methodology doesn't matter as much to me. Whether the Heat called you or whether you called the Heat, the bottom line is you conveyed what the Heat wanted out there. What they wanted out there, you conveyed in response to Woj in Portland. That's the truth, right? The
Greg.
methodology doesn't matter as much. It's the bottom line. They got out there what they wanted to, and you happened to be the portal.
That's not the truth. And I was just giving the space to Jeremy to talk, but he was too slow. That's not the truth.
But Greg's convinced that is the truth, and if he thinks that's the truth, you can understand why the listeners would also think that's the truth.
Okay,
right?
and what I'm telling you, because the truth,
even though you're saying it's not the truth.
Does my dad know how I don't know how journalism
Thank
works.
you, Chris.
But you've been in this for a long
He's
time.
sniffing around. Greg is sniffing around right now.
It's weird that you're confused on how all this works.
He's not a good reporter. He never has been. And I don't say that as insult. Neither am I. Neither am I. I was not good at that job, and Greg Cody's not. Greg Cody is a good columnist. Greg Cody is an exceptional writer. I don't think Greg Cody knows how to report.
No, that's part of the reason why they turned me into a columnist, because they knew I could write better than I could report. And I got my ass kicked on beats just like you occasionally did when you were very young. But I do know how journalism works, and I would be curious what I said that isn't the truth. Okay, the information you got from the Heat, they knew you were going to broadcast, and unless they gave it to you off the record, they wanted it broadcast.
And this is why I would say to you that you're wrong.
Okay.
I wasn't asking, hey, give me what the package is. I wasn't asking, hey, can you guys inform me of who the players are involved, what the draft picks are?
I feel like we're in the weeds here, getting bogged down. I mean, what happened? And we trust Dan. Whatever he says happens.
No, the thing that I want to talk about, though, as all of this changes, because I am perpetually frustrated on what's the truth when I've got two credible reporters, the most credible, reporting the opposite thing. And in this instance, the truth, according to the Heat, is that Woj is tied to the Portland front office in a way that Shams is not.
Right.
And so, but you're saying, get at the truth, and you've got two different versions of the truth, and one of them is soaked in agenda, and the other one is not.
Right. And the phrase bought and paid for is very incendiary, okay? Is that the way the Heat feels? Not you.
Everything I said yesterday was meant to be, and this is my fault. I thought I was a good communicator. This is my fault. Everything that I was saying yesterday was gathered not by me with an agenda other than what's true here.
Right.
It's what so you've got Portland's perspective out there that Woj keeps feeding, as if you're in Portland's front office and you could go downstairs and say to somebody, an intern, craft for me what needs to be sent out to everybody on behalf of the Portland organization without it coming back to the Portland organization. That's what Woj is doing. And so I wanted to find out if they thought that's what Woj was doing. They're not interested in this game. You don't hear anything from the Heat publicly on what's happening with Lillard, and they sure as hell wouldn't want it known, like I was saying yesterday, that Tyler Hero's on the block. That's not something that they would want one of their valued employees, their third most valued employee, to know. That's something that they would like to be more private than it's become.
The funny part is that ultimately what we're arguing about on what your reporting is, Dan, is splitting hairs. It's ultimately just that you mentioned that they view Hero and Maxey in this same capacity, because in a lot of other reports that have been out there, particularly from Woj, it's been like there's this giant disparity. And multiple weeks ago on this show, we were having the conversation of, why is Tyler Hero valued as a diminished asset in any sort of way? He's this young player who's been improving, all these things. So all you did was merely put them in the same conversation as each other. But because of the splitting hairs that we're doing, it then seems like, no, you're slanted, you're speaking on behalf of the Heat front office, trying to influence the way that the public feels.
What got aggregated yesterday was me telling you the way that the Heat we're watching what it is that's happening. You can think, Stugotz, and you'd be right, that we can get stuck in the weeds of the journalism of this, but it is relentlessly interesting to me because at the crossroads of this, Stugotz, where Stephen A. Smith accuses me of, hey, Le Batard, you're not any better than us. You did debate television. Where I was, Stugotz, is I was with Mitch Albom, Mike Lupica. I'm not going to say sports reporters here. No. No. I'm going to tell you.
You don't have to. We know what you mean.
we all know what you're talking about.
We're on the couch.
But it's
we
not.
get it.
It's
Yeah.
not about
John
sports
Saunders.
reporters. I don't.
A-listers he's naming.
Yeah.
Rest in power.
Okay, fine. I deserve that. But that's not what I meant. I'm being misunderstood again.
Album. Well,
This is about a fired project we did together that nobody remembers that isn't the sports reporters, is where this story was going.
Oh, okay.
I see.
The story was going somewhere else, but thank you again for interrupting me
You're welcome.
before I get to where it is I'm trying to go.
Okay.
I appreciate the support of my producers, always. This was something ESPN rejected, did not like. It's a failed project. What I am giving you right now is not name dropping. It is where I split from what it is that was happening at ESPN.
Splitting hairs.
Thank you, Jeremy, for giving Stugotz the joke instead of taking it for
My
yourself
man.
that time.
Dishing
Spent
them
some
out,
time in
Dad.
Tahoe together. That's what happens, Dan. Little bonding.
Tabros.
Scalpel.
Scalping it?
Yeah, scalping it. No, I'm waiting for that scalpel. You got $1 million, multi-million-dollar operation here. Somebody can't bring me a medical scalpel.
We couldn't get a Rubik's Cube for a month. Oh, yeah, that's true.
You were saying.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Continue.
That Lupica and Album and I were
Those
doing
guys,
these flowery essays on SportsCenter. They were 90 seconds long. They were meant to be, tapestries that celebrate journalism.
Yeah, it's flowery.
And the focus groups showed very clearly, no thank you. We don't want to hear just what this shitty, arrogant person's opinion is. We'd like to hear the other side as well. I'd like my viewpoint represented, not just this asshole LeBatard, not just this asshole Lupica. I'm not going to call Album an asshole because he's a very good man, very sweet, important man. You should read all his books. He's doing better and deeper work than all of us.
Philanthropist as well.
You did not hesitate on Lupica, though. I mean,
Really quick on that.
Well, on the aforementioned sports reporters, I did get told by Lupica after drinking too much in New York and throwing up in a sink and going on to Lupica smelling like liquor, going on to sports reporters. He did say to me, because I wasn't wearing a tie, respect the brand.
Oh, no.
that is classic
He's right.
Lupica. Yeah.
But that's where the decisions got made on where things were going. We want both sides of this, and then from there, the journalists rushed into the breach and sort of changed everything about how ESPN was doing business and blurred some of these lines, right? Because I don't think that many of the people listening to this make any distinction between a newspaper columnist, a newspaper reporter, Stephen A. Smith, and Adam Schefter. I don't think they're making any journalistic distinctions there. But at one time, ESPN was. They're not so much anymore, but at one time they were making the same distinctions.
But that's the capitalistic corporatization of journalism over the over the last decade, 2 decades, is as money's gotten into all of this, as local newspapers die and everything becomes nationalized by a few giant media conglomerates. That's what's ultimately going to happen, is they're going to blur the lines, make everybody do everything so that, one, the information that's being fed to you doesn't really matter. Fake news, all the lines are blurred, but also now you have people having to wear multiple different hats as journalist and entertainer, and they can't really keep up the same journalistic standards.
And those lines have blurred to non-existence. They don't exist anymore. And to use the small microcosm of the Miami Herald, I am the only one in the sports department who is a columnist of record, but anyone is free to write opinion now. Anyone is. And they don't even call them, the Miami Herald doesn't even refer to a game story anymore. If you're writing what used to be a game story, they call it analysis now. Anyone is free to write opinion. So even the role of columnist is blurred to non-existence on their own staff.
And I'm talking about all of this in the silly little playpen of sports, but I probably don't need to explain to you the dangers of, if journalism is corporate bought, and it is, by interests that are not objective, for example, we're going to ignore the giant story that oil is causing that is ruining the earth that we are not talking about, where impending destruction seems to be obviously on the way. Scientists say we are exceeding all the expectations on what's happening in the Arctic, and they are scared to hell that it's 152-degree heat index I don't even remember where it was yesterday, but every day there's some new news about how the earth is actually falling apart and apocalypse is on the way, and the bought news coverage isn't yelling from the rooftops that this is happening, and local coverage is so bad that Miami is replete with corrupt politicians who are only here to take the money because nobody's watching. But in sports, it's just this silly little thing that causes all of this attention and fighting. Real world, what is happening to journalism makes me sob in a bathroom at midnight.